What's up, you guys? Slim here at Team Symmetry, here to bring you at long last what I know a lot of you have been asking for. Before I get into what this is, you can already tell what it is. This is a Malefic deck profile. I just want to say thank you so much to all my subscribers, contributors, everyone that's been on this crazy ride with me since the beginning. And I just want to say thank you. It really means a lot to me that, just a normal player, just a normal guy can get this much I guess the word is appreciation in this much of a fan base of just really nice people who support me, and I'm glad to bring you this deck profile. This is the build I have, and I really hope that people who build it will build it like this, or will build similar builds or make changes to it. Anything you see wrong here, anything you see right, let me know. I promised you guys this, and I'm doing it on Dueling Network because it's the clearest I probably could do it, because I have taken some cards out and put them in other decks, and I didn't want to have mismatching sleeves because that would not be legit. So here we go. So we're going to start with the monsters. Obviously, 3 Malefic Cyber Dragon. Love the card to death. 4,000 beater. Beats the crap out of pretty much everything. Goes, fuck you, Grapha. Even with your little field, your field's helping me out. 3 Thunder King. His Thunder King is just busted. I mean, this card is so good. People want this card limited or semi-limited or limited on the list. I don't think it's going to happen, but this card is just good. This card has seen more play than probably any card in the format. Yeah, it's just amazing. You gotta run it. People think it would hinder terraforming, but basically you terraforming first. Yeah, so it works amazing. 3 Beast King Barbaros, because it's a 1900 beater under skill drain. It's 3000. It's just nice. It just beats over like everything. Got 2 GK Commandants. My avatar, of course, and those are there to fetch Necro Valley, because we do run fields in this deck and we do run Necro Valley. Next we got one of my favorite cards in the whole deck is the 2 Ancient Gear Gadgetron Dragons. Now let me tell you about this card. This card is just amazing. If you don't bottomless it, this card does work. When this card attacks, your opponent cannot activate spells or trap until the end of the battle step or something like that. It's just busted. It's amazing how much work it can put in just by itself. So those are the monsters. You guys can see it's a really low monster count. You don't have a lot of monsters, but you do have the big beaters through the Malefic Cyberends, the 3 Beast King Barbaros under skill drain, and of course the 2 Gadgetron Dragons. They work amazing. Into the spells, we have 2, not 3 Pot of Duality. 3 seem to be a little too much, and 2 works just fine. I mean, feel free to change it, but 2 has always worked fine for me. 3 Terraforming to get your 5 fields. We run 3 Gear Town, which is just busted. Activate Gear Town, set over it with another field. It is destroyed, it goes to the graveyard. Don't let anyone tell you that it doesn't activate, it doesn't miss timing. It works, and it brings out the Gadgetron bitch dragons. So you gotta run it. 2 Necro Valley. Obviously, this card locks down so many decks. Plants just come to mind immediately. Anything that tries to target the graveyard, nah, not going to happen today. Along with 2 Royal Tribute. I know a lot of people hate this card. Shout out to all my Gravekeeper players. It keeps the Gravekeeper dream alive in me, running these cards in this deck. Haters going to hate. Royal Tribute Necro Valley is a lucky play. There's only 2 Valleys and 2 Royal Tributes. That's 4 cards out of a 41 card deck. Your chances are not that high. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's like move on and live to play another day. Got 2 MSTs because you got to hit those pesky back rows like Bottomless or Deep Prison. Those can be a real problem. MST just puts in work. An end phase MST on 1 can pretty much lock down the game if you have Malefic Cyberend out. Now, this is where my deck is interesting. Unlike most Malefic decks, I do main deck 2-Dimensional Fissure. The reason is, before I started running Dark World myself, I kind of feared Dark World. I heard how good they were going to be, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to up this deck, I'm going to make it so that Dark World doesn't affect me. And when you go D-Fissure, Necro Valley, Royal Tribute, Insta-Scoop. They lose all their monsters to the remove pile, no effects go off, it's busted. This card also is just amazing because it locks down plants, agents, everything. And I think that maining this card was actually pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with how the deck is run with D-Fissure. People would think, well, you run Commandant, isn't that a problem? It's not really a problem, because if I don't draw into Commandant, but I draw into Necro Valley, I draw Commandant later, it's still 2100, and it still puts in some work. So I do like keeping the D-Fissures in. Like I said, feel free to agree or disagree with me. This is just how I like to run the deck. And of course, the game winner, the busted-ass card in here, the Limiter removal. Reason why Limiter's in here is because this sucker goes to 8,000. That's game right there in one hit. Shout out to my teammate Stefan. He knows. He told me to put that card in, and then I used it against him like 3 games in a row, and he regretted it. But he knows how good the card is, and it's just, you gotta run it. I mean, you don't have to, but I don't see why you wouldn't. You got 5 machines. 2 of them can go to 6,000. 3 of them can go to 8,000. It's amazing. On to the traps, obviously 3 skill drain. People want to know, what's up with skill drain and Malefic Cyberend? Rules are simple. If skill drain's on the field, face up, and you don't have a field, you can special summon the Malefic by removing Cyberend Dragon from your extra deck. However, you cannot, and I repeat, cannot summon another Malefic. The in-card hand effect that only one Malefic can be controlled stays true. If a judge tells you otherwise, they're bullshitting and they don't know the rules. But the rule is, no matter what, Malefics, there can only ever be one on the field. However, if the Malefic gets booked, your opponent can summon another Malefic, or you can summon another Malefic. But there can only ever be just one on the field, even with skill drain. So just want to keep that in mind. I know a lot of people have been asking me that, and I'm glad to answer it for you, and I hope that that answer answers that question. Next, we got 2 Safe Zone. This card is busted. Protect the Thunder King, protect the Gadgetron Dragon, protect Barbara, protect anything. This card is just good. Against your opponent, when they MST it in his face down, if they have a face-up monster, chain it. Their monster dies because it was hooked up to Safe Zone and the resolution of the chain, and the monster will go kaput. Next, we got 2 Compulse. I love Compulse. Compulse is just good. Bounce a monster back, swing for 4,000, or whatever with the monsters. It puts in a lot of work. Says bye to synchros, a lot of things. Nothing sweeter than they bring out a synchro, you go skill drain, and then end phase, you compulse it back, and you hit with Cyberend and Gadgetron Dragon for 7,000, which is usually the end of the match. It's just amazing. And then protection comes in. Heavy, we have 3 Dark Bribe. That's right, 3 Dark Bribe. I run 3. It works fine. People would say, why do you want your opponent to draw a card? There's not a lot of cards that you're going to draw in your main deck that can really answer a Malefic Cyberend. And that's not being cocky or anything. That's just from experience and from what I've heard from other Malefic players. That Dark Bribe just helps. A Heavy Storm can be a problem. MST can be a problem. Bottomless, D-Prison, anything that can remove the Malefic or hurt any of my monsters. Removing Gadgetron hurts. That's where the protection is. And then the last trap is, of course, a Solemn Judgement. Just because Solemn Judgement is just solid, you have to run it. So that's the 41 main Malefic deck that I run here on Dueling Network. People who've played me before, you might not have even known it was me, but I played you with this deck, and yeah, it puts in work. It wins pretty quickly, or you draw nothing and you lose pretty badly, or you have to really stall out, which is very hard to do with this deck. But it does put in a lot of work, so that's the main deck right there. On to the side deck. 2 Cyber Dragons, because of gadgets, which are a real problem, because of Machina, because of Karakuri, you gotta run them. King Tiger Wanghu, the MVP in the side deck, so good against plants, so good against TG, so good against monsters that are 1400 or less. It just puts in work. As you noticed in the main deck, we don't run a lot of generic spells, so we gotta run Heavy Storm, Dark Hole. I put in a 3rd MST because MST is just good. You gotta run 3 MST if you're siding in against a deck that runs heavy back row. I didn't used to believe in 3 MST, but now I see that they are pretty essential. Next, we got the 3rd Necro Valley to hurt plants in any deck that relies on the graveyard. We got 2 Zombie World. And everyone's like, Slim, what is up with Zombie World? And yeah, Zombie World is there because Frog Monarch are a pain. They really are. The Treeborn recurring. You know, I do main D-Fissure, but sometimes you just don't draw it, and when you need an out, Zombie World is great against that deck because they can't tribute the frog by its effects. So Zombie World puts in a lot of work. Plus, it's another field, so the Malefics come out freely. That's what I like about the card, and it's just a personal side deck choice that I've used against Frog Monarch and have been pretty successful in all my matches. Traps, like I said, as you can see, we don't run Warning, we don't run Bottomless or D-Prison, so they're here in the side deck to side in against decks that you want to remove stuff, and I mean, everyone loves to banish stuff, so yeah, so there's those 4. And the last one is just a Starlight Road, just to protect against Heavy Storm or Dark Hole or anything that could really be a problem. So that's the 15 card side deck that I got right now for the deck. And it sides in pretty easily. You know, you just see what you're playing against, and I mean, you don't really need to side out too much. Just side out your multiples. You do run 3, 3, and 3, so you can do some work there. You can even side out a command in. I mean, terraforming. You know, it's your own personal choice. Side out a skill drain if need be, a dark bribe. You know, you got a lot of synergy here to work with it. So. Yeah, and then we just moved to the extra deck, which is pretty simple. 3 Cyber End Dragons. Obviously, you can't run Malefic without them. 2 Chimera Techs, because you run 2 Cyber Dragons. And 1 Stardust for the Starlight Road. This deck does not synchro. This deck does not exceed, even though it could. I'm thinking I might add... I mean, I might as well add some rank 4s in here. I can run a random Utopia. I'm probably throwing a Utopia and a Roach into here just because why not? You know, I got the room, why not? The last card I'll probably throw in here would be Sandwich, just because it's an amazing fusion of Witch of the Black Forest and Sangin. But yeah, that's it, you guys. This is the Malefic deck, the 41 main deck, the 15 side, and the very small but effective extra deck. Please, comment below, like this video if this is what you've been wanting to see. I'm glad that I got enough likes on my last video for people to want this to happen, and I'm glad that, you guys continue to come to me for advice, for questions, everything. Like I said, I'll be coming up with a big update with a new schedule for my channel. I'm really pushing hard for partnership, you guys. I finally decided that it's what I want to do. I want to do it for my team, and I want to do it for all my supporters, all of you guys out there. And like I said, I can't thank you guys enough. So I hope this deck will be played by many of my fans, many of my supporters, and I would love to play mirror matches. I would love to see people playing this deck on Dueling Network. Like I said, my Dueling Network name is Slims 2 Fitted. I'll have an annotation somewhere. As you can see, I'm not lying. I do play on Dueling Network every once in a while. I've just been busy, but I'm taking a lot of time to really just give you guys what you want. So I hope that helps. And this is the famous MacBook that I do all my recording on. Yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there. But that's all I got to say, you guys. Slim here, Team Symmetry. Hope you guys like the deck profile. I'll do, and we'll just see how it goes. So the more likes I get, the better. If I can get at least 15 to 20 likes on this, I'd be very happy. So thank you guys so much for the time, and thank you for watching.